To be honest, I don't know how to charge this without shooting it.
And I fell. Bounties. But he's dead for right now, so he's gonna leave us alone now.
Alright, well, if I kill you, it's not my fault.
I don't believe that for a minute.
Oh, my armistice zone privileges are revoked.
No, it looked like I got hit by my own ship when I was getting out of the seat.
Another NPC. Yep, he's dead. Oh, no, he ran away. Okay, let me try that again. So, the microphone was not turned on. I apologize about that, guys. Thank you, Jskell, for noticing that. Welcome to Star Citizen. This is going to be one of those nights. I can see it now. I should make it a 5-beer podcast. State of the Verse podcast, where we go over the latest and greatest information on the Star Citizen universe. As always, joined by Jskell, the co-host of the show. We're going to cover a lot of different items, such as the PTU patch for 3.16, and also Star Citizen Live, Inside Star Citizen, and yes, even the Ion modifications, as well as Redeemer modifications. But hold your comments for now. We will get to that later in the show when we get to Inside Star Citizen. When we get to patch notes. But definitely be discussing that. And somebody I've been trying to get on the show for a long time, that I've been wanting to get on the show for a long time, DangerLeprechau, who has a habit of getting himself into a lot of trouble. And lately has been teaming up with Mandalorian for some different adventures that you can definitely, if you're in the Discord, you can check out the screenshots. And Danger's actually one of the few people in the org that has been on the Cuttlas Steel. So we'll get his impression of it and thoughts on that when we discuss that, and go into a little bit more as to what the Cuttlas Steel is for anybody that isn't aware. But welcome, guys. What's going on?
I'm in the PTU right now at Jumptown.
So he's trying to do mass murder while being on the podcast.
It's a Saturday night.
This is
It's for science.
Everything's for science. So, and just as a heads up with, for those that celebrate Christmas and all that, being next Saturday, followed by New Year's the following Saturday, we will not be doing a State of the Verse. That way people can spend time with their families and enjoy that celebration. And of course, New Year's Day, we will probably postpone that show because, well, hangovers. I expect I'm going to have a major hangover, so I'm probably not going to be broadcasting that night, but we will pick up the following week after that. If I'm not too hungover, I may just do a gameplay stream, so keep an eye out for that. And plus, CIG is on a break, so we're not going to be seeing any of the Star Citizen Lives or Inside Star Citizen or roadmaps because they're on their winter break for the holidays, and they've had their final episodes for the year just this past week. So, but getting into current events, we got Luminalia going on. It's currently underway, goes through the 22nd of December. A couple of the bonuses that they got with Luminalia is they got the discounted starter packs, which are going to be going over here once I flip the camera. Helps if you can see when they're talking. All right, so we got discounted starter packs, same as last week. Aurora MR for $40.50 as a standalone, or you can get it for $60.50 US with Squadron 42. The Avenger Titan, $63 is just the standard package, or $83 with Squadron 42, which definitely gives you some savings in there. The Mustang Alpha is available for $40.50, does not have a Squadron 42 discounted price. And of course, the Consolidated Outland Nomad, which is available for $85.50. And again, no Squadron 42 pack available. But keep in mind, courtesy of Helio from Amarok's Fang, a Nomad starter pack from IAE was donated for our January giveaway, which is going to start on January 1st. And that does include Squadron 42, as well as the Nomad and a paint. So keep an eye out for that starting on January 1st. We'll take entries all the way through the end of January and pick a winner on February 1st. As far as our giveaways go, I do want to congratulate Jackie Moon from Twitch, who was the winner of our Argo Raft giveaway that we pulled the winner on December 15th. He won himself the IAE Argo Raft with the 3 paint pack. I'm currently in communication with him to facilitate the transfer of that. Congratulations to him. Sure, he'll put it to some good use and enjoy it. Excuse me. And thank him for all his support and all that. And definitely we'll be picking up those giveaways as of January 1st with that Nomad pack and continue on with those. And that's all able to be done because of the generosity of you guys out there. So I appreciate that. Getting back to Luminalia, though, we got the 12 days of Luminalia gifts. Don't forget, you can go to the RSI website. Oh, I forgot to play the opening, too. You can go to the Luminalia website and get your daily gifts. If you missed a day, you can go back and still get it. So it's just like the pledge store. Everything's at 0 cost. If you missed a day, you can go back, claim it, and get any of the past gifts that you've missed. Gifts that we've seen so far is a holiday sweater. There's 2 Spectrum badges. One came out today. There's a Valkyrie wallpaper, paints for the Aurora, Caterpillar, and Mustangs. And then on one day, and it didn't go over too well, but I mean, it's still information. They gave a sneak peek at the Gravlev bike that we're going to see announced sometime during the course of Luminalia that will be released as well into the verse itself. Now, my viewpoint on that is we know that the Cuttlas Steel is coming in with 316. I have a feeling they're going to announce that Gravlev bike probably the last day of Luminalia, which is going to be the 22nd. And then that's going to come into 316 with the Cuttlas Steel. So you'll be able to get either one of those with the new patch. And that also jives right in line with the release date that they mentioned in the roadmap roundup of sometime this coming week. So keep an eye out for that. You also got the Luminalia gifts, which have issues of their own. They started out at paying 1,000 AUEC per gift that you picked up and turned into an admin or kiosk to sell. I think they're dropped down to 250 now. So there was definitely some disappointment on that with the adjustment in the price. People feel like they can't make as much as they were. At the same time, I mean, we had org members that were making over 100,000 on one selling trip with picking up those gifts because they're all over the place. So there's no shortage in finding them. So, of course, there's also Luminalia package delivery missions that are available that you can make some AUEC on, and they have some contests running. Now, the Luminalia screenshot contest has multiple prizes. First place is an Aegis Redeemer. Second place is a Crusaders Ares Inferno. And the third place is the Argo Raft. You'll want to definitely go to the RSI website to see the official rules, but it's going to run through January 4th. And then along with that, they have the greeting card contest, which 3 prizes as well for that. First place is an Anvil Valkyrie. Second place is the Redeemer, and third place is the 400i. Again, see the official rules on the Luminalia page. And that's surprisingly running only until January 3rd. So 2 contests ending on subsequent days there. Check those out if you're interested. It's got all the ins and outs of how you can enter for that. And then, of course, Luminalia is also offering discount subscriber passes. If you pay for a year at a time, you can get the Centurion Pass for $99, which is $11 off the standard price, and the Imperator package for $198, which is going to be a $22 discount off the month-to-month price. So those subscriber packages are going to give you access to the Subscriber Flare, the Ship of the Month. The Imperator gives you the Vandal Scythe, as well as the ability to purchase the Ship of the Month after it's in PU to be used. The following month you can buy it. Sometimes they have a little bit of a discount on it. Other times they have increased insurance, or the benefit being if it's a ship that's not currently available for sale, it will be available for sale for subscribers off of that. They also have numerous discounts on multiple physical merchandise from the store, including the gaming mats, which can spotlight the Inferno or the Ion. I actually have the Origin gaming mat, and I love it. It's a great mouse mat. And then they got the Pico slippers, which I definitely will be ordering, as well as the Finley plushes and a lot more stuff. The other thing I got to get is that bar set. That looks really nice. So, and of course, we got new ship announcements coming up. So with 316, as we talked about, a couple of new ship announcements, and that's going to be that Gravlev bike. Again, there's no release date, but I anticipate it's going to come in with 316, probably be announced finally on the last day of Luminalia. I would imagine we might even get another sneak peek through the 12 gifts of Luminalia on there. But we got a picture of the handlebar so far. And this is going to go right along with that Gravlev rework that we're doing, testing on in the PTU right now. I'm not too excited about the Gravlev bike. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts?
All depends what it can do.
I was messing around on the Dragonfly last night and died multiple times still.
It's something new for you to shove through a window at a station, isn't it, Danger?
Yeah. It's just about it.
So, of course, the question is, what design is it going to be? We saw some things at CitizenCon that showed 3 possible things, and people are trying to, kind of use that picture that was given and those silhouettes to try and determine what it is. I don't think there's a real good chance I can tell which one it is yet. But we'll keep our eye out for that. And, of course, the new Drake Cuttlas Steel that was just announced on Inside Star Citizen. The big thing with that is it will be straight to flyable with 316. There's no pricing information as of yet. I've tried going through everything I could try to find to get any information on possible pricing. We know that the Cuddy Red is about 140, the Cuddy Blue is 175. I'm hoping it will land somewhere between there at the most, but that's all speculation. There's nothing indicating where it's going to land. But I would say if it's around that price range, definitely I'll probably end up getting it as a standalone. But if it's anything more than the Cuddy Blue, I'm probably going to just go with the CCU on it. I'm really hard pressed to say that's an over $200 ship though. I think it best served between the Cuddy Black and the Cuddy Red, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I've been in it, but I'm not sure what it's going to be, sold as.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out at with that pricing. Talking about that, Danger, as I mentioned, is one of the 2 folks. Him and Mando actually ran into either devs or an avocado that brought it out into PTU and was able to get on board and actually get a look at it. You actually got to fly in it too, didn't you?
Yeah, I was trying to find Jumptown in it, but couldn't find Jumptown. I mean, all I did was fly around above the surface for a little bit and kind of just looked at the gun, sat in the seat. There's a lot of seats, and
well, now
I don't know, it could be a pretty fun ship if you have enough people to man it.
And we saw the 18 jump seats in the back area, and I know Tainted posted something where it looked like somebody actually did get a Dragonfly into it to carry around with that. I don't think a Cyclone's going to fit in there with all those jump seats, but you could definitely get a PTV in there probably. Did you get, I mean, how did you see the configuration for the remote turret? Was it in the co-pilot seat, or was there a...
Yeah, so you got the normal turret. You have the normal turret seat, and then I'm pretty sure the co-pilot has the other control of it.
Has that rear dual size too.
Yeah.
So were there still beds on the in the front portion?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So
just a bunch of jump seats and, like I said, those 5 door turrets.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not sure if we're going to see it released to backers in the PTU for testing. It may just stay with devs and avocado. But we do know it's probably less than a week before we're going to have our chance to get our hands on it and pledge it and go from there. Mando says he died of suffocation on the landing pad before he could get on board.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
What happened to him?
Oh, yeah, he was trying to get out to it and suffocated.
Oh, that's when he was in the hospital gown, he said, right?
Yeah.
He forgot he didn't have a helmet on.
Yeah.
As Badger says, don't forget your helmets. So
It's quite funny.
yeah, those situations usually turn out that way. So that brings us to the PTU patch for 316. And of course, most of the notes I have are the one that was out this morning. We did have another PTU patch launch today, which is going to be the current version of 7912101. There's not really much of any change over what the patch was before. There were some minor bug fixes that were taken care of, and really not a huge whole amount that really, I would say, made a huge difference. Let me get this going here. There we go. Oh, that's the wrong one. Technical, I changed my screen so I wouldn't look to the left as much. There we go. All right, so we got the patch notes going there. Of course, those are available on the RSI website. And the focus of 316's Gravlev rework Jumptown 2.0, which is actually running in the current PTU right now. Courtesy of PV01E did announce that they were running that. Of course, the last few days they were running Ninetales, which was a surprise that I saw Ninetales actually running the first time they started running it the other day. We actually got in and tried to play the Ninetales, and of course, in Danger, you were saying there were actually missions for playing the other side now.
Yeah, so if you have a crime stat, you have the opportunity to take the Ninetail side, and when you're on that side, if you're running the cargo supplies, you can get targets for those players. So if you're in a C2 and I'm on the criminal side, I can have a target for you and try to take you down before you deliver the supplies.
Right, and that was one of the big things of the initial run Ninetales, is that there was no criminal side or criminal mission you could take, and they never really put any information out other than the postmortem that they were going to be working on implementing that, but they never announced that they actually came up with a setup for that. So it's kind of interesting to see that you were able to get in and check that out. We actually, because you were with us, Danger, we actually got into some PvP fights with numerous other players, which was a great time. They were actually pretty good guys, and for the most part, outside of that improvement with the ability to take something on the illegal side, I did not really see much change. We actually got to a point where we just ended up, we weren't going to ever get through the mission. So it was just kind of like, all right, well, this was fun, but let's go ahead and move on to another activity. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much of an improvement that addition of those missions really will make, because it was very lackluster the first time it ran, and I didn't really get a sense of excitement or enjoyment, or really a sense of urgency to get through the mission when we were running it the other night.
Yeah, it felt like it wasn't worth your time, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I got out of it too. It just got to the point where it was like, yeah, okay, really isn't going to make a difference of anything, so we just moved on. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
you'll have fun, doing the PvP stuff for a little bit. But if you're trying to do the like lawful side, it's more of a pain than anything, because you're just fighting other players the whole time, and then it slows the progress down. So you're not really making any money doing it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, all the PvP battles were way off to the side. So if you were going and getting medical supplies, which I will say they did, it seems like they did fix that issue where you couldn't get more than a couple of SEU of medical supplies the first time it ran. I was able to fill a C2. I think it was Anrol was able to fill a Connie Taurus. There was no shortage of medical supplies. So at least it looks like they addressed that part. But yeah, all the PvP battles were way off to the side. So anybody running those medical supplies just had a free run right into the station. And there wasn't really any sense of urgency or danger by, not getting in there real quick with the quantum not active. So it kind of still seems to be lacking something. So aside from that, the PTU is also going over the law system improvements with kind of finessing the getting a crime stat for friendly fire, or getting a crime stat if you're a pirate firing on somebody else. They also added the atmospheric bounties. Also, Arena Commander got a Dying Star update for that map, and Area 18 Hospitals, which actually I haven't been over to Area 18 Hospital yet to check it out. But they're also worked on, and this was about 3 patches ago, the Ares Inferno balance, restricted testing of the Drake Cuttlas Steel, as we talked about with Avocati and only devs bringing it in, and of course, continuing bug fixes from previous patches. What we know about the known issues, there's known issues that are out there that aren't showing on the patch notes that we've experienced at least. And a lot of them are recurring issues. So that's going to be your infinite load screen. I ran into the quantuming on a party member, still takes you through the planet occasionally. It seems like the cause of it is if they're just over the far edge of the planet, just on the other side, you don't want a quantum on them. It's going to shove you right through the planet and destroy you. Ship configuration in Moby-Glass is still an issue and requiring you to spawn the ship in and then restore it before you can go into Moby-Glass and adjust any of the components on it. Prison missions were reported on previous patches not working correctly. Mining and O2 missions specifically, which obviously are the only 2. But in today's patch, they did say they fixed the mining missions with the mining terminals, and there was proof in the chat on that people were posting pictures of successful deposits of mining ores in prison. So it looks like they might have a handle on that finally. We have had org members, though, having bed logging issues. And of course, hammerhead doors are still an issue. People getting locked in turrets. That's been going on for quite a while. And a few other things that are minor that are mentioned in there. But definitely check out those patch notes for the full details. But really no major issues on the last 2 patches, today's and yesterday's, as far as game-breaking fixes. And then, of course, on today's, they mentioned they fixed 1 client crash and a few other on yesterday's, including an Arena Commander crash. Which brings us to the Ares Ion. And this can be a bit of a sore topic. So basically, and it was 3 or 4 patches ago, in 3.16, they took the Ares Ion, which had a very slow rate of fire with a very heavy hitting round, and they changed it. And they remodified it to be 3 times the capacity of rounds before your capacitors were drained. They increased the rate of fire to 110 rounds per minute. And then they increased the overall DPS of the weapon for the long term. Personally, I'm not in agreement with everybody. Not everybody has to be in agreement. Everybody has their own opinion, and I respect everybody's opinion. So nobody yell at me, please. So I know I'm going to get some comments on this. But me personally, I don't feel it's broken. I think it's more well balanced based on the available gameplay that we have now. The ship itself was really sold and built as a capital killer ship, not a dogfighter. And one other change they made that I forgot to mention was they removed the aim assist. So you got a more spread on the gun, much like what you have with the Inferno. But with that balance now, every patch notes that's come out since, I would say 85-90% of the comments are just people swarming it and flooding it with comments about the Ion. It seems to be very much a large number of the same people. And again, I respect everybody's opinion, but I think there's some that may be overreacting a bit to this because it can still accomplish what it was pretty much slated to do, and that's kill an Idris. It can still solo an Idris in the configuration that it's in now. But the adjustments to the Ion have really created the strong reaction in Spectrum, and the salt is flowing, that is for sure. The modifications are not game-breaking by any means. Ultimately, it has the same killing potential it originally had, though the loss of aim assist makes it for less landed shots, and one-shot kills on light fighters are not occurring. And that is a big negative that some people have, is the one-shot kills. Which, in my mind, this thing was so OP that there was nothing out there that could take it down for the most part, unless you had another one of them. but this really kind of balances the ship out, like I said, to bring it to the current playability and increase the survivability of light fighters. Light fighters, I think, should have an advantage over the Ion. They're faster, they're more nimble, they're more maneuverable. They should be able to avoid the shots and everything. In a head-to-head fight, it should be drawn out. It shouldn't be where the Ion sitting outside the range of the small single seat fighter pops off around, flies away because one shot, one kill. It doesn't seem like that's really realistic in the fact that I play a game for an experience. Having that takes away that experience. And the challenge is not there. So what enjoyment are you getting out of the game? Is really kind of my overall feel of it. But it does introduce a weakness to the Ion in the fact that if you have a Gladius, you have an Arrow, which I know is your favorite ship there, Danger. You have a Saber, you're going to have a fighting chance, and you can outmaneuver, and you could finagle your way around, and it could be a deeper, more fulfilling experience to actually have a challenge. So it takes some of that meta kind of gameplay away. And even in the flight combat video that was in Star Citizen Live, they made it very clear they're trying to take the meta away. They want the meta gone. They want you to have to think carefully about what you're going to pull, what effects it's going to have, and what are the ramifications and things that you're going to experience by making the choices that you make. They don't want one ship that will basically, make you indestructible. But I don't think this is a bad thing for the Ares Ion. Obviously, we're going to see numerous changes. We're only in alpha right now. We're only in 3.16. This right now is only in PTU, which is a test universe for, well, alpha, which is a test universe. So we're in the testing phase of a testing phase. So, but to think that this is going to be set in stone and the only thing you're going to see from here on out is crazy, because once we start getting more things in capital ship wise, as far as right now, we got 890s, reclaimers, and an occasional Idris. The closest thing that we see on a common scale is the Carrack. It's once you start seeing those things, those larger ships getting in, you're going to see these things all be rebalanced again anyways. So to get all worked up, I mean, there's comments that people are screaming bait and switch. People are flooding for or recommending and trying to encourage people in Spectrum to go for refunds. It's a little bit overkill, in my opinion. I'll say that because everybody has their own opinion, and if that's how they feel about it, that's how they feel about it. But there's a lot of toxicity going on that doesn't really need to exist and doesn't help anything and doesn't catch the attention from CIG because they're just going to ignore the toxic posts. I mean, Danger and Jskell, what are your thoughts?
Mine are along the lines of what you've already said. I think in the Star Citizen Live from yesterday, after Jared's little singing episode, he, I guess he was getting bombarded with Ion in the chat, and so he did basically state, this is an alpha, and we are working on it, we're building it, and things are going to change. So, um, I I can't get worked up over the changes that happen. I mean, look at the 400i. Like everybody complaining about it not fitting a rock, so
Mm-hmm.
they extended the landing gear hastily, and then everybody got mad because they caved and they jacked it up, and I don't know. It's just gonna. I think we're just gonna keep seeing this, and I think the more CIG responds or reacts to it, I think we're just gonna see more of it
Oh
because
yeah, definitely. I think
people
so
are gonna,
too.
it's gonna give people traction, right? They're gonna feel
Mm-hmm.
like they've got a forum, and I've been noticing. I think we've talked about this before. I've been noticing all of the forums now on Spectrum. There used to be some weren't as bad, but I just feel like there's more and more salt over every little thing now, and this is just the next big complaint.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
and I were talking about the Ion. The Ion and the Inferno both are specialized ships. they're like bombers. They bring an amazing amount of firepower, but there's got to be some limits to them. It's a size 7 gun. Like how accurate can it be when it's shooting a small ship? That's more maneuverable than it. I don't know.
Yeah, and when like you and I were talking about before, you're going up at this is meant to go after capital ships. And outside of individual components, once you can target power plants and shields and things like that specifically, you don't really need aim assist. You're shooting a gun at something bigger than a football field. You're gonna hit it, no matter what the spread is. If you're within the right range, you're not gonna miss. You're gonna hit that ship. So, but definitely, Mando brings up a point. They pitched it as a sniper ship at one point. Yeah, they did, and he even says they agrees, and that is actually a point that they bring up on the spectrums and all that. That was billed as a sniper ship and everything. What I found interesting is I think it was on 2 patch notes past. I was going through all the comments, and somebody actually took the time to do comparisons of different laser repeaters, laser cannons, what their RPMs were, what their rounds per minute were, and basically everything to break down where that differentiation is between what's a repeater, what's a cannon. And the numbers speak for themselves. Where it is right now, it is still a cannon. It's just a slightly faster cannon than what we had to start with. And it doesn't fall under the scope of repeaters and things like that. So they didn't just slap a repeater on it. And actually, as I mentioned, they increased the DPS, the overall DPS over time to be bigger than what it was. So it's even going to be that much more dangerous to an Idris or an 890 or a Carrick. I mean, Danger, what's your view? I know you're kind of on the other side that you're not excited about it.
Well, I agree with you how, they got to balance it for what's in the game. But I'm just not a fan of how, there's really no more customizing your ship with components, especially. I mean, because before you could go buy better power plants, better shields and stuff. You could actually see a big difference. But right now, everything's so balanced, it's
Right.
just, they want to use those capacitors, but I mean,
Well, I think what you're talking about, they have brought up everything has kind of been leveled to where you just have your grades. You don't have the individual differences between the grades.
yeah, it that, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, you could take out an Inferno with an arrow, or even I've seen people do it with the Aurora. It
Yeah.
just, I mean, even before they patched it or whatever, or
Yeah,
when it was like practically a one-shot, one kill, you could still take it out with an Aurora. It's just depending on the pilot, the skills of the players. But
yeah, and actually things like the Aurora, the Gladius, the Arrow, even the Saber, or even the Mustang, they always had that advantage of more agility and more maneuverability because the turning rate on the Ion was never able to keep up with those smaller ships as they're going by, especially like an M50 is absolutely ridiculous to trying to keep up with. But previously it was set to where, yeah, you could fire one shot from outside the ship's range and just take it out with one shot. Now you have to be a little bit closer, which gets you in range of their guns, and their maneuverability poses a threat now, where before they were no threat at all. And if you got the right pilot, like you said, yeah, a small ship can definitely take them out. Now, as far as the components, that is definitely a work in progress, as they talked about on the flight combat interview. Those are all going to be, it's a long-term thing that they're looking at to start phasing those in. And I think if I remember correctly, they said shields were going to be the first thing that they're going to start phasing in with differences within the grades. And we're probably going to see that starting around, I want to say they said probably around 317 or so.
yeah, right now it's kind of like somewhat depressing. Like, you want to go buy components for your ships and stuff and make them better, but
yeah, and there's
it's
limitations to how much you can do that, because all you can do is go from a grade C to a grade B or a grade A. But if you're already at a grade A, you got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Where before you may have a grade A, but you had 4 options in there that all offer different benefits. So, but yeah, definitely I can understand your point on that one, because I do miss that customization that I had with those components. And now it's just kind of level, it doesn't matter which one I buy. So why pay 99,000 for an XL1 when a cross or another grade A will do the same thing for half the price.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I flew the Ion after the changes and did it for several bounties, and I had no problem. I mean, I really had no issue with taking things out, hitting things. I know a lot of people are saying that it's broken, you can't hit anything now, which I really don't see that being an issue because I was able to interact with bounties from LRTs all the way up to HRTs. It's definitely feels different, but I don't see it being game breaking. So, and I mean, some of the other things that, obviously I saw in Spectrum, and this was a point I think I brought up to you, Jskell. The and this is only a small subgroup of the people that are disappointed. But there's a small subgroup that are focused on the one shot, one kill thing, and they want the ability to take these small targets out. That there's no way a Gladius should decimate this thing or destroy it, and that there should be no chance that it has to do that. And
Well, that for me, that would be like you talked about, like when you have the actual capital ships in game and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Say the game was released tomorrow and everything was done. Like that's how it should be then, you know.
well, I mean, I see it in regards to the capital ship killer, especially when you bring up an Idris or even once the javelin gets in and all that. Your defense, those ships, their defense against these ships are going to be those light fighters. They're going to be launching them out of the hangar to go fight these things because that's what they're susceptible to.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like once every you got all that in game and stuff, that size 7 should definitely be able to one shot like an arrow. But they're like we talked about, they're just trying to balance it for right now.
Yeah.
But
But
eventually it should get back to having that amount of power, I guess is what I'm trying
yeah,
to say.
and like I said, we're going to see several different iterations of this. There's no way this is going to stay in this configuration all the way through the release because things are going to be changed so many times over. It's absolutely ridiculous. Horse and Bacon, thank you for the resubscribe. I greatly appreciate that. The one thing that I was saying about Spectrum though is there is this subgroup, of disappointed people, and they have a right to be disappointed. I mean, it's a ship they love, they have a passion for it, and I can't fault them for that. But sometimes you can go about things the wrong way. But they're concerned about the one shot, one kill. They don't want Gladius or arrows getting anywhere near them and all that stuff. And they're saying that this was only done to satisfy the single seat fighter pilots, the players that only have single seat fighters, and that they raised hell and caused this, or they're saying streamers caused it because they were getting sick of being killed. I've not seen anything myself on Spectrum where streamers were complaining or anything like that, or really even people complaining about single seat fighters getting hit. But their excuse was, well, if they don't like it, they don't need to tone down the ship. The other players that are complaining just need to get good. And my thought on that, and we see that excuse with a lot of things, especially when it comes to griefing situations and other situations like that. And I'm not saying that these people are griefing because they're not. They're playing the game. They have, a ship that they love. But their excuse is, well, they got to get good if they want to go up against it. But at the same time, if the configuration of the ship isn't working for you because you're getting beat by a Gladius, doesn't the reverse just fall back on you as well too, that maybe you should get good where you can defend yourself against a Gladius? I mean, it's kind of hypocritical to me. And I may be wrong thinking that, but it goes both ways. And that's where I'm seeing that there's a loss of logic here because they expect everybody else to accommodate them and get good instead of dealing with a balanced and more engaging experience to where now they have to be challenged to beat the other person out. And it just, I don't buy that. And tell me if I'm wrong.
Mm, I don't think you're wrong.
So,
Me either.
yeah. So I'm sure we're gonna see Ion coming up on all the patch notes. Their plan is to obviously flood the comments. There's even people now, as more and more patch notes come out, more and more people speaking up, asking them to stop putting this stuff in there. Obviously, Sig knows about it. Sig's seen it. They're not responding, so they're not going to gain any traction by just being toxic in Spectrum. And more people are speaking up that, let's drop it. We don't need this here. This is for patch notes, what we're experiencing, testing in the patch and everything like that. Take the toxicity out of here. So it's nice to see more people speaking up. But this also brings us to a second portion of this where, and not so drastically, but they balance the Redeemer.
Oh no.
Well, no,
It's bad now.
Well, I mean, the only thing they did
I
was,
love that thing. I'm sorry, but I don't. That thing was awesome.
well, no,
especially crude. But now it's oh gosh.
See, now I again, and respectfully, I disagree with you, Danger. Now
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
The only thing they changed on the Redeemer was the speed at which the turrets can rotate. That's pretty much the only, basically recorded change that they made to the Redeemer. It doesn't show that they made any other changes, and it's not getting as much attention as the Ion is. But there's people who have the Ion and the Redeemer that are mentioning both in the same post. We took it out the other night, and we really had no problem with it. I mean, yeah, it's slower, but I mean, we were still able to kill anything that we came across.
Yeah, but if you're going against players, it's going to be a different story. I mean, because the turrets for like a full rotation now is like 9 seconds compared to the 3.5.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely a change. I mean, that's definitely a very noticeable change on that. Me, I'm not so bothered by it because usually I'm the one flying. So whenever we do something, I'm always the pilot. So, fortunately, I got other people in the back doing the turrets. But, I've been in the turrets, I think, once since the change, and and it could very well be I wasn't in the turret enough before the change to really notice a difference, but I personally didn't have a problem with it. So, but there are people that are disappointed on that one, and not so much as they are with the Ion. But again, we're going to see many different iterations of these things. These things are going to be rebalanced so many times over as new content comes out. It's not even funny. So nobody should really get their hopes up that, this is perfect. This is how it's got to stay. And it's going to stay that way because it's not. It's going to change.
I guess I think the biggest thing is, you make a ship fun to use, like extremely fun. It could be a little bit overpowered or whatever, but then they kind of like nerf it a little bit, and then it's just like, dang it, like took away my fun.
Yeah. I mean, you get a ship in that they just released, you've been looking forward to, you really like how it comes out of the box or off the showroom floor, and then they start making adjustments to it. Or it goes the other way, kind of like with the 400i. They make adjustments, they release it. I definitely was not a fan of the 400i, still pretty much not. But, definitely the over PTU patches, they made several changes and then changed them back. And, honestly, I get more aggravated by the change it here, change it back again, and all within a week's time. I mean, because I had to pump 3 videos out of all those changes over 3 days. I was coming home making a new video every day. And it's like part 1, part 2, part 3. And it's like this constant back and forth, responding to the things. I find that more annoying than the making a modification and then letting it run for a while and then adjusting after you have all the data, all the testing and all that stuff. The things done in haste usually end up being worse than the things that are done with proper, time applied to it to see what the outcome is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still have nightmares coming home and be like, God damn it, I gotta make another video. So, but
I think the biggest thing that this is my opinion though, like when they nerf the Christmas present prices,
I don't. Yeah, I don't. Get that.
so I think that's kind of they
That-
started with that, and then they started doing all that other stuff. So then it's just going to upset people. Like,
Well, they nerfed the prices on the Christmas presents at the same time they adjusted the Ion and the Redeemer. I think that was all in the same patch,
Oh.
and that's just more fuel for the fire.
yeah, it's like
what I mean.
I just it was they were 1,000 AUC last year. You know what I mean?
They were 1,000
then,
at the start of this year.
Yeah, but it's just like it doesn't put a good
and I can understand
view on the whole thing.
Yeah, and I can understand, obviously they have to adjust things for the economy so that it doesn't get broken like it did before. And things like that, but that should have been thought of before they released it in regards to the packages. And if they had just straight out said, hey, the packages are going to be this much this year because we put 10 times as many in as was in last year, because the amount of packages out there is far more than what they had last year. So where you'd find a package here or there last year, this year it's like you turn every corner and you're finding a package. So if they had just come out and said, yeah, they're going to be 250 this year instead of 1,000 because we put in 4 times as many, I think everybody would have taken that better than just changing it after starting at the $1,000 and then moving it down from there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to think though, like the people who are getting those packages. I mean, it doesn't take, a short amount of time to gather that many. You're spending your time like gathering hundreds of packages, like hours of doing it. So
yeah. What's up, Brock? It's good to see you. Yeah, in the packages, I mean, I think it just was handled poorly the way they handled that one, though. And it could definitely have been done better. And then to top that off with all the other changes they made in that same time, I think they shot themselves in the foot with how many things people could be upset at once in one patch. So, but I mean, we had, I forget who it was, but we had somebody that spent one evening and they made over 100,000 easily. I think there was almost 150 in just collecting packages.
Yeah, but that's a lot of time too. I mean, it's not, when you think about it, it's not that much money. If you're like doing mining or something, you can make way more.
Oh, yeah.
But they must just thought it was too easy or something. I don't know.
That's my only thought on it, was the fact that it was just too easy to get it. And then like Horse and Bacon saying 100K and then he stopped. The Rock saying he made 120K in 20 minutes doing the packages. So, and realistically, you're running this event for 10 days. How much, and it's not going to be like what happened with the replication bug where people are going to get into the 30, 40, 50 trillion level. It, like you said, it does take some time to get those things. But, you could also say, hey, this is how many packages are out there. Go find them. And then just don't replicate them. But
yeah, even though there were a bunch out there, Tainted and I were running around trying to find like different areas to basically gather them, trying to find a good place to like just get a ton of them. And there were tons of people collecting. So there are areas that it didn't seem like there were any packages at all. And then Tainted said that he got a fresh server and nobody had been through, and he had like 35 in an area where we only saw like 2.
Yeah.
So I think with all the people collecting, I think that was balancing it out, to your point about not becoming trillionaires.
Yeah. So, but I don't see them changing it back. So I think they'll probably leave it here. I think it would have been much better served if they just started off at that level for sure. So, but that's pretty much what's going on with the PTU patch. Anything out of the ordinary outside of those things that you guys are experiencing on the PTU?
Not that I can think of, really.
It's kind of a trick question for Danger, isn't it?
Yeah, usually he causes the issues.
I was gonna say, isn't he the out of the ordinary?
Yeah, he is when he's naked, at least. So rocks the He-Man haircut. He's got his Edna picture up on his Discord thumbnail there. So Danger is the one that discovered the pushing the Gravlev bikes through, or actually you started with an arrow. You pushed an arrow into CRUL1, which if you want to see that video, it's over on the YouTube page.
That was an accident too.
So very, very fun video there. All right, so that brings us to the roadmap roundup. And Jskell, you want to take this one?
Sure. Roadmap roundup. So for this week, we talked about some changes to Alpha 316 and how they're rolling it out because 315 took longer and it's one of the most stable builds they've had. They didn't want to rush things with 316 and kind of destabilize the underlying game. So they pushed a few things out of 316 and then they are manually dropping the committed features into the PU. I think it's next week still. I haven't seen anything differently yet.
Yeah.
So I'm skipping over like a lot of the text because I've got it open right now, just in case you're wondering where I'm at.
No problem.
Not following the notes. Anyway, they moved some stuff to a patch 316.1, which is something that they normally do. They're trying to get some fun stuff for us to do while they are on break, which is Jumptown 2 and some of the Gravlev rework. It sounds like we're getting Ninetales as well again because it's some testing in PTU again. But for 316, not 316.1, 316 is Area 18 Hospital, Dying Star updated map, Gravlev physics rework, Jumptown 2.0, which we've been talking about. And then for 316.1, which will be after the start of the new year, we're going to get the Deerlicks or derelict spaceships and Laser Trip Mine T0, which I'm assuming is going to go with those derelict spaceships since it moved with them.
Yep.
And then they moved DNA head textures update and mining gadgets to 317, which kind of sucks, but I think some of us were looking forward to playing around with the mining gadgets.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing thing with that was they didn't announce that until after 316 was already in PTU with a couple patches already gone by.
Well, yeah, and I was watching the notes, right? Whenever they drop the notes in the PTU, they talk about the testing focus, and it was not showing up in the focus ever. And we started talking about the absence of it. So now we know. Updates to the progress tracker, lockable containers. These are kind of I think of them as like the spawn closets, but basically puzzle boxes maybe. Anyway, this is a deliverable that's been added to the EU-PU gameplay feature team schedule, and I don't. Did you see where it's at? I didn't.
I did
forgot to
not
look to
see the time frame that it's at. No.
Okay. And then FPS devices tier 1. They're going to add more things other than grenades and med pens. Deployable devices, items that can be carried around as part of a player loadout, equipped and deployed onto a surface. Perhaps we'll finally get those deployable turret guns. But this has been added to the weapon feature team schedule, and again, I didn't see where it was at on the tracker. The vehicle tech team has been moved from what? Sorry, it's a downstream team now. It used to be an upstream team. It's downstream, which means it reacts to work coming at it rather than coming up with its own work, which in theory should streamline some stuff so that there's not as much work waiting for other teams. But this impacts multi-grid SDF capital ship destruction and cockpit button animations.
Yep.
Those all will be coming back to the progress tracker after a brief disappearance.
Yeah.
And that was it. The next one will be on January 26th.
Yep.
Did I miss anything?
No, that's about it. Yeah, this is their long break at the beginning of each year. Going to go back and just take a look at a couple of comments here in the chat when we were talking about the Aya and all that. Horse and Bacon's actually got a good point. And again, in regards to like what Danger was saying with the reduction in the turning speed, actually Mandalorian actually brought that up as well too. Horse and Bacon says, in his opinion, 25% increase in the turret rotation would probably be a good adjustment. And again, definitely we may see further adjustments on that. And somewhere down the line, there's definitely going to be further adjustments. Mando is kind of talking about that turret should be able to keep up with the small single seat fighters. And that's in regards to the turrets on the Redeemer. I mean, turret speed, I would think turret speed is more determined by whatever equipment is spinning that turret, not so much the ship itself. So, I mean, I would imagine you should be able to make the turret speed whatever you want it to be, and it shouldn't really affect much of anything other than your ability to stay on target. I see the turret speed thing not being on the same level as what the changes on the Ion were made. So that one, I can understand people being disappointed. Like I said, I don't have an issue with it personally, but I would think that would be an easier adjustment to make down the line if they want to bring it back some or back to where it was, and it not having as large of an impact on the overall fighting experience in the game as the changes to the ion gun. Yeah, and actually, you mentioned overclocking the turret, Jskell.
Need to if it's going to be slowed down so much.
Oh yeah. So, yep. Sorry about that if I took a little long to get to your comments, guys, but I appreciate you throwing them in there. Definitely feel free to throw questions or anything that you like in there. We definitely love hearing from you guys. All right. So, after the roadmap roundup, as Jskell had mentioned, we're not going to see the next one until the 26th of January because of the winter break. Brings us to the lore entry, which this was actually an interesting one. It was a little bit shorter than what we've seen in the past. And it was a quick read, and it talked about pretty much looked like two guys talking about contracts and basically setting up, almost sound like it was talking about Jumptown with the availability of Widow and the unlimited surplus and being able to get a job, and then sending another bounty to like a bounty hunter to divert him from the area that the other guy was going to. And it's just an interesting little communications back and forth between two outlaws and basically subverting any kind of opposition to what they were going to do. Definitely well worth the read, though. And it really did strike me that they were talking about, what we're seeing with Jumptown, even though it's at Wheelers, or is it Wheelers or Raven's Roost, Jumptown, and where else?
Paradise Cove.
Yeah,
Paradise
Paradise Cove. Not Wheelers, Paradise Cove. So, but definitely check that if you're into the lore and everything. It's an interesting little segment there to kind of, get an idea of some of the background on this. But that's going to be the data cache Widowmaker, and that's available right on the RSI site. I'm not a huge lore person, but I actually found that one interesting. So that brings us to Inside Star Citizen, and this was the final one of the year. It was about a 20-minute long video. There was a lot of different things that they went over. It was a year in a review, and they really went over everything that we saw in the year. And the funny thing is that I didn't even think that the list was as big as it is. I think maybe I had misremembered that some of it may have been in 2019. I'm sorry, 2020, or further back, but they went through everything. They basically covered Daymar Rally, Return of the Combat Summit, and it was interesting to remember back to everything that they implemented.
And I don't remember, I must have missed it, that there was a bug that threatened to derail the Daymar rally.
I totally forgot about that, and I don't even remember what the bug was because he didn't go into details what the bug was, but they did fix it, and I completely forgot about it. But of course, we have the Daymar rally on January 15th this year. Amarok's Fang does have a team of myself, Splaticus, Gravity Cat, and Kagi Tenchu, who are going to be entering it in the Cyclone category. So keep an eye out for that. But it was really interesting to go through everything. I mean, they had the Daymar rally, the improvements to the power management, the missile guidance and control rework, the removal of Delamar and Levski, which seems like it was longer than just a year ago.
Yeah.
Xenothreat, the dynamic event, plus Xenothreat 2. And for some reason, I thought Xenothreat was last year.
Yep.
the implementation of the Idris with Xenothreat and the Miles Eckhart missions, the Red Festival, Coromor, Luminalia, Stella Fortuna. We got ship naming in this past year, which I totally forgot that was just this past year. The new reputation system, the updates to the referral program, which we're also, don't forget, we are still waiting for those updates to the concierge program that they had mentioned, but those are still in the works. We got the caves, which, the funny thing is, we can find caves no problem for the missions, but I can't find any of the caves you can fly into. I have not seen any of those since that first PTU patch when they first implemented them. Don't know where they are.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to find. I haven't really searched for them all that much either.
Yeah,
So
it
I
doesn't
don't
seem
know.
there's any missions that take you to them. So of
But
course
yeah,
we get.
and
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and the one that I do remember going to, you could just fly down to the bottom of it. There wasn't anything else to do once you got down there.
No, you could crawl through back some walking areas, but there wasn't really much of anything else. Of course, they reworked every planet. They also got new delivery missions. Ship to ship docking was a huge thing this year. The ship degradation, and of course the new mining modules. I think we had an excellent Invictus and Javelin tour kind of section there. That Invictus ran extremely smooth, and I loved the fact that we could get on board a Javelin. And of course, we have all the new ships that came out this year, which is the Tonk, the Hercules, the 400i, the Redeemer, the Ares Starfighters. No matter how much some people may be unhappy with those two, Connie Taurus, Argo Raft. We're now going to see the Drake Cutlass Black. We also are going to see a Grav Lev bike, and definitely other things. We got new concepts in the Liberator, the Scorpius, the Odyssey, and the Raylan. And I don't know how I forgot about the Raylan because I, for some reason, totally forgot about that, and I have one. We saw the Bengal for the first time in game, which was absolutely awesome. And I never imagined, at this time last year that we were going to see that thing flying around, but it is spectacular. I will say that. I've crashed a few times into it and it was well worth it. The medical gameplay, which was a humongous change in the gameplay systems, and the inventory, which both actually came out on the same patch and really had me worried about being able to grasp the concept of it and get used to it. And, it's not as scary as what I originally thought it was. I've actually, been able to do fairly decent other than forgetting to load my stuff onto my ships before I leave a port where I bought something. It hasn't been that bad. And granted, yes, we are losing subscriber flare, concierge flare, or things like that. But they're now encouraging doing the character resets to get that stuff back. They're not, where it was before you could do one, what was it? It was like one every 10 days or something like that. Then they bumped it up to one every 24 hours when they started having a number of issues. Now they're leaving at that and they're encouraging people to actually do that, where before they were kind of trying to steer people away from doing it unless you absolutely had to. The nice thing is that it's still on the future plans to get an in-game system to recoup those items. So it'll be interesting to see where and when we might see that. My guess is it might be on the cargo refactor when they rework some of the economy, the stores, and all that stuff. But definitely looking forward to that. We got Crusader and Orison, which it's a pain in the backside to fly in and out of Orison, but oh my God, it is gorgeous. They did a hell of a good job with that. We got the cloud tech, all the flight combat changes with the new HUDs and radar and ping uses. The new studio that came up in Montreal. We saw the ship showdown, as Jared said in the Inside Star Citizen. He wasn't going to sing the praises of the MPUV cargo. I think we had an excellent IAE 2951. He talks about Jax in the 4 episodes we saw with that, and that we'll see him on his return from Pyro next year. So definitely a little bit foreshadowing that it's not gonna necessarily have anything directly to do with Pyro, but he will be back in Stanton when IAE is here next year. CitizenCon, I thought that was a great experience. I learned a lot with that one because there were a lot of things I didn't know about the server meshing and everything. And I know, you joined and a number of guys from the org joined during that, and we had a lot of different. We pretty much broadcast every single panel, and I there was a lot more information there than I thought there would be, and of course, Merchant Man. We now know it's in production. It is being worked on. It's had some revamps. I think the changes they made have been spectacular. And we've gotten some white box video of it. I think everybody is extremely excited about that. Death of a Spaceman, which goes right with that medical gameplay, loot generation, which I loot things. I'm not finding a whole lot of really great things, but am finding loot. The spores and the fungus and all that stuff, I try to eat it and kill myself, but it wouldn't affect me. The infiltrate and defend missions, which I think were a great addition now if they could just get them working right, and of course the hospitals. So overall, this last year has been packed with a lot more things than what I ever anticipated or thought that was actually put in there. Because you think patch to patch, they put this in. A lot of people say there's not new stuff being introduced. There's not new gameplay loops being introduced. And then when you actually look at, all of these items, you realize that, yeah, there is. There's been a ton that, maybe you forgot about or took for granted or something like that. Because again, Spectrum being what Spectrum is, definitely seen posts where people complain that over the last year they've done nothing with the game. And that's totally not true. As far as like you guys, I know Danger, you've been in and out over the last year and back and forth between several different games. What are some of the things that you guys have enjoyed most about the last year of stuff?
For me, it would be the stability.
Yeah, that's definitely increased.
I do wish they would fix the rock mining, because now with how long you're able to like stay playing without getting disconnected or whatever, I mean, it'd make it a lot more enjoyable now.
You're talking about the extraction issue?
Well, I mean, you can extract it fine. It does fling them all around, but as long as you don't move the laser, they won't go flying off into space or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it just right now you can't find it. You can't.
Locating gems.
Yeah, locating the hadnite or clusters or whatever. You have to be like within like 1,500 meters, and then even by then it's almost too late. You like go flying past it.
Yeah, and that we found came in with those radar and ping changes that they made.
Yeah, and then when you do find them, they're underneath like unbreakable rocks. So
yeah, there were some issues I saw that people were talking about. It was buried underground and inaccessible. Which definitely I don't do as much. I know you love rock mining. I'm not very good at it, and I don't do it very often. But I know that other people that have reported a lot of that, finding it buried 30 meters underground and everything, and completely inaccessible.
Yeah, it's right now it's it's not worth it. Not worth the time flying around for ever.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely takes much more time to do the rock mining, at least in my experience, compared to like prospector mining. But it pays. I mean, it definitely pays.
Yeah, full. Well, the last time that I knew, a full Gray Cat Rock was worth 220,000 of hadnite. So
right.
Now,
and didn't they take away the ability to take the cargo out of the rock and put it in a box and then go back out and refill?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure until you can do that again, or like have them all stack onto the, be able to transfer it over to a ship. It's not still just going to be a pain,
right.
to do it.
Now they did change the Rock DS as well too, because the Rock DS actually it originally had twice the capacity as the Rock. And I think they brought that down to now it has the same capacity. So, I mean, there really wasn't a benefit to the Rock DS to begin with, because it took two people and you ended up splitting whatever you got. So you're only going to make as much as you would have in a Rock. But, yeah, they brought that one down to lower capacity and all that stuff as well too. So the Rock DS is actually less usable now than what it was before.
Oh, I know you're talking about that, but I am playing in the PTU. I just sniped 4 people at Jumptown in a row. And
Not in a rock.
it's a fun place to go for PvP. And like, I know when we were on there the other night, it didn't get crazy, but it's fun.
Well, actually, we were going to talk about Jumptown 2 here in just a bit, which we'll actually get back to that because I definitely want to hear some of your experiences because I definitely had a different experience.
Yep.
I'll explain that experience once we get to that part. But yeah, you definitely have a much better experience than I have had. Of course, after all that, basically that brings us to Star Citizen Live. And honestly, I am sorry I'm going to do this to you people because you guys are actually very good people that don't deserve this. But oh, god dang it! It would probably help if I had these set up beforehand. But I changed my screens because I keep looking at the wrong ones.
Karma.
Yeah, tell me about it. There, yeah, there it is.
Those are the notes. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, make sure I got the volume on and all that. All right, so now, there we go. Why is there no sound? Oh, you know what? Nope, actually, I'm at the wrong part. I'm not going to annoy you guys yet. Sorry about that. My bad. This brings us to the Drake Cuttlas Black. I'm jumping ahead of my own schedule. So the Drake Cuttlas Black is going to was announced on Inside Star Citizen. And this is Drake Cuttlas Steel. I am all kinds of mess. This is a 5-beer night. I've only had 2 so far. So the Drake Cuttlas Steel is a new Cutty Black variant that was announced as of ISC. And this thing is going to be a variant with the original 4 size 3 guns that the pilot has, as well as the manned dual size 3 turret that the Cutty Black has. These are shots that Mando and DangerLeprechau got when they were on board in PTU of the ship, with the 5 door guns as well as the remote rear dual size 2 turret. It's going to have more missiles than what the Cutty Black has. And honestly, I want this thing. I'm hoping they don't overprice it because, I mean, when you look at some ships, they have a tendency to sometimes overprice it. I don't see this being something worth more than... I have trouble even justifying it at the Cutty Blue level. I want to see this kind of fall in between the Cutty Black and the Cutty Red, but I'm not holding my breath. I have a feeling it'll fall more between the red and the blue, which hopefully it won't be more than that. But this will be released on 3/16. We don't know anything about its components, its capabilities, and I'm sure, Danger, you didn't get a chance to really learn much about it other than what you could visually see when you were on board it. But 18 drop seats. This thing's got guns sticking out of every opening, every face, other than the underneath. And this thing looks like it's going to be a great drop ship for a small fleet. Somebody that doesn't want the big Valkyrie or the big Prowler, that has maybe a different budget or wants to only buy in game. This will be a drop ship that will be lower priced than the Hoplite and the Valkyrie and the Prowler. And it looks like it packs some firepower on it as well too. This is some more shots that Mando and DangerLeprechau got. And I mean, other than the cockpit, I like it. I mean, I've always said that they need to put the Cutty Blue cockpit onto the Cutty Black, but it doesn't look like they've done so there, obviously. And definitely looking forward to getting my hands on this. Because I think if we man all those guns and we end up going to Jumptown, it's going to be a lot of fun. What are your guys' thought as far as, are you expecting that you're going to end up getting it or CCU, or what are your thoughts?
I'm iffy on it. The Cuddy Black, I think it took me a while before I decided I even wanted it.
Hmm.
I like the Cuddy Red, and then I bought a Cuddy Blue in game, and I had it until the wipe, and I only flew it like once or twice, and I never took it out again. So I think it's more of I want to see more about it first before I kind of
Yeah.
make a decision.
Yeah, because we have really no information other than the weapons loadout as to what's on it. I know when I first started playing, I hated the Cutlass. I hated the Cuddy Black. Thought it was the stupidest looking thing in the world, and I don't know why, but for some reason it grew on me to where now it's definitely one of the best ships to get if you're just starting out in the game and you have the budget to go up to it. As far as versatility, loadout, abilities that it can do. I don't fly mine very often, but I can definitely say I fly it. It's got a great stock quantum drive. You put that ghoulish green paint on it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And right now, I'm thinking I want this Cuttlas Steel and put the ghoulish green paint on it, and this thing is gonna look like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man just coming to destroy everything. As
Makes
far as
sense.
go ahead.
Oh no, the visual
Oh,
Green Goblin.
well, that's okay. On the video I did on it, somebody said that they wanted to vote for the tagline of it spewing rounds from every orifice as the official tagline to CIG. Danger, you actually, like we were talked about before, you got in this thing. You've messed around with it. You even flew it a little bit. Is this something you're going to add or look to add or CCU to in your fleet? You must be doing mass murders at Jumptown.
Running for his life.
No, probably not right away. No, sorry.
How many did you kill, Danger?
4.
That's it?
Well, they're like flying around looking for me, so
Oh, you're on the ground. You're not in a ship?
no. Laying in the prone, all covered in ice from being out here so long. I got the railgun ready to go.
You always have the railgun ready to go, man. That's your specialty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it'll be interesting. I think the big thing for me is going to be where they put it price point wise. Really, that higher price tag up around the Cuddy Blue, I'm going to have a real hard time justifying standalone and probably look more at the CCU of something I'm not using, unfortunately. Well, I guess I can look at one thing. If they price it over 220, I got something to move a terrapin to. So, at least I got that.
I have a feeling it's going to be overpriced.
Well, I mean, I've always said this about the Valkyrie. I love the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is definitely much better served purchased in game than pledging, because the Valkyrie at 375 is probably one of the most overpriced ships that I've seen in the game.
Yeah.
When I first got in and I saw that Valkyrie, I loved it. I wanted it. And then I looked at the price of it and I was like, what the F? Because I can't justify it. It's a great ship. You got to have a multi-crew on it. It's got the drop seats. It can haul the, Ursa, the Cyclones. But 375, just, to me, that is way overpriced for that ship.
Yeah, like once you have content in game to where I know they want Jumptown to kind of be like that, where you can come in with a, drop ship, but realistically, you'd be getting shot down way before,
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely outfitted gun wise. That if you got a multi crew, that thing can lay down some pain.
Yeah.
But it just the hoplites rate, I want to say around 240 to 260 range. I think the hoplite is. The problem I have with the hoplite is you have, what is it, 16 it can seat? Something like that.
Way fewer.
Yeah, but the purpose of a drop ship is to get down, get people out quick, and get off the ground. The hoplite has great carrying capacity, little tiny doorway. So you're not going to be exiting the vehicle very quickly. You're going to be single file trying to file out of that ship. You don't have good egress on the hoplite, which is my biggest beef with the hoplite. It is not a great drop ship because of that fact. You look at the Valkyrie, it's excellent. Wide open side doors, big loading ramp on the back. Get your Ursas, your Cyclones, whatever you're taking out of there, your Dragonflies, everybody egresses out the side. Immediate, quick egress so you can get that thing off the ground and out of the line of fire. Prowler, lacking the Cyclone or vehicle carrying capacity, but definitely much better than the Hoplite. You got the side doors that all open up, quick egress, and out the back ramp or the sides. Can get down and get out of there quick. And that's the one thing that strikes me about the Cuddy is and the Cuddy is actually just pretty much built perfectly for that quick egress. You got the two big side doors, you got the back ramp, just like with the Valkyrie. You get a decent amount of carrying capacity for people at 18, and you can just get them out in no time and get that thing out of there. I'm really hoping they don't go the route though that they did with the Valkyrie and price it way over what it's actually worth. Because I see it more as a, maybe at most 150. I mean, that'd be the higher end that I would say that it's really worth in the configuration that it has. I think I'd be a little hard pressed, going anything above that.
It'll be interesting to see what it's priced at.
Yeah. I would imagine that they're going to drag it out as long as they can until they announce the Gravlev and the Cuddy both on the same day for purchase in the pledge store. So I'm anticipating we may find out Monday or Tuesday, maybe. The 22nd is Wednesday, which is the end of Luminalia. So 316, I would imagine, will hit Thursday, which is when the latest is that we should probably find out. So keep your eyes out for that. All right, now that brings us to Star Citizen Live, and now I can make everybody's ears bleed.
With so much drama in the SEC, it's kind of hard being Discolander, don't you see? But I somehow, some way, keep cranking out video stuff nearly every 7 days now. Gonna make a little something here for the G's, and with my friends here we'll breeze through, 'cause it's 10 in the morning and this party's just starting. And Chris Roberts ain't home. I got Jaylee in his living room ready to go, but he ain't singing 'cause he chose to forgo. So what we gonna do? We're gonna make silly crap right in front of all of you. So tune into Twitch and grab a beer. It's the last show of the year, and we didn't clear an ounce of this, and we should probably have done that. This is going to get me in trouble.
All right, so that was Jared singing. Later on in the program, he says he was singing Gin and Juice, but I'm not sure.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was talking about he was singing it off camera or something. But
Or he had gin and juice before he.
I will say this. I mean, as for what it is, it's not Italian Spider-Man. He actually has a non-ear piercing voice, and it was actually halfway decent. I can see him probably enjoying karaoke. So it wasn't as cringy as Italian Spider-Man. I would actually say he did a pretty good job there. But this Star Citizen Live was one of those ones where we see they go through the creative process, the art style, creating characters or creating different things. They've got a good track record of things that actually make it into the game, obviously. This one, they're talking about Luminalia mascot, which I thought Pico was the unofficial Luminalia mascot, given last year's wallpaper with Pico riding the MSR with the Christmas lights as the reins. I was actually searching that wallpaper with Valkyrie looking for Pico in there, but apparently he's not the mascot. So we're looking at this, and what they designed was they started with Jared. As you saw at the beginning there, they kind of warped his face, head, added some animal features like a snake and a monkey. And this is pretty much what they came up with. It's kind of really interesting how they go through this process. They were joined by Jeremiah and Adam. They talk a little bit about the history of Luminalia. He did start the program, as you mentioned earlier, Jskell, about the Ion, and stresses that Jeremiah and Adam know nothing about it. They're not involved with it. Not to throw questions about that out there. They are art and design team. But they pretty much went through, talked about the Banu Glow Festival, a 2-day festival. The Banu would light a ceremonial lamp, and it would last for those 2 days. Any visitors would be welcomed into their home, and the visitors would become part of the Banu Suli, which basically is kind of like organization or family or group. It was traditional for the host to give the gifts to those that arrived. Forgot to stop that. Sorry about that. By beer night. That's all I'm going to say. So they would talk about how it was traditional for the host to give gifts to those that would arrive. The humans kind of picked up on this tradition, and smaller stores would duplicate it. We can't recall the name of the group that did it. Oh, they're talking about the song. It's the country version. I can't remember the name of the group that did the country version. Oh, the Gourds. Thank you, Darth. I appreciate that. So the humans picked up on this tradition, and they duplicated the events to attract customers. It started officially in 2550s. Eventually, it worked its way into corporations, where they geared it towards marketing, as all corporations do, and attracting new customers, giving them gifts that they would come in, bring it to the store, sell it back to them to spend that money on products inside the store. And this is really kind of a collaboration to go through, find a mascot of Luminalia. They were looking at doing 2 different ones, a mascot and then a corporate mascot. And again, I kind of assumed Pico was the mascot of Luminalia, because that's about the time he came out, and of course the pictures we had. It was definitely one of those ones where if you're not interested into the art aspect, or you're not into the design aspect, you're going to have a little trouble following along, or probably finding enjoyment in it. But if definitely you're into the design process and everything, it's about an hour and 15 minutes long. And definitely, if that's kind of what you're studying or what you enjoy or that process, check it out. I think there's going to be a lot of different information in there. How they go through and see how they collaborate is definitely interesting. How they throw ideas off each other, take ideas from the people that are in the Twitch chat, and by the end of the hour and 15 minutes, they have 2 completely developed characters, pretty much. So we've seen them do several of these over this past year. And they're always interesting to see something start as simple as Jared's head and get warped into this snake monkey human crossbreed. So check that out. Definitely well worth it. And then that pretty much was it for the week as far as any new information. But as we discussed with Danger earlier, Jumptown 2. That is I would say that's probably the most exciting thing of this entire 316 patch. Now, as I mentioned, I had a completely different experience than Danger had. Danger, you've been in a couple times doing it. I've gotten in on stream. We tried to do it on the stream last week when it was first introduced. Yeah. And our experience, I don't want to say it was horrible, but we got onto a server that only had 13 people on it. And when we went to Jumptown, all 13 of us, well, 11 of us were in my group. The other 2 actually showed up, and everybody was doing the lawful side. So there was no opposition for us to come across. It was just load up the C2, load up, whatever ships we had, and go sell. It wasn't exciting because there was a lack of confrontation there, which is what it's built off of. Now, you actually have been in a couple times, and you even interacted and went up against Zero State Live's crew. What is the experience that you're having with Jumptown 2, since you seem to be getting the kind of, flavor and the intended purpose of it?
1 second, let me get to a safe spot.
As he kills somebody at Jumptown 2.
I mean, I know we should be trying to get the packages and stuff, but like right now, I don't think, let me check. I don't think there's a mission going on right now. I've been here since we started the stream. Yeah, there's no mission. But if you want to just go PvP, I mean, Jumptown or these places are going to be really the place to go. You know, if you just want to jack around.
So you're finding that people aren't so focused on getting the drugs and selling them, but they're more focused on the PvP.
Well, you're going to need a pretty decent sized group to make it possible. You know, you're going to need fighters out, you know, defending you.
Yeah.
But if someone comes in with an A2, you're done for because me and Amanda were doing this the other night, and we got blown up from like 500 meters away. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, that thing can just drop a Moab from, 10,000 feet above and just take out everybody.
Yeah. But I think it's pretty fun. I think it's a lot more fun than the Nine Tails, personally.
Well, I mean, I will admit that even though I had the experience I had, you kind of get an idea from watching other people do it and all that. And obviously we had a completely out of the ordinary experience with it because everybody else I've talked to that's done it has had similar experiences to what you've had.
Yeah.
I don't know why oh, go ahead.
Sorry. For example, I have a Redeemer going around with its super bright lights trying to find me in the snow. So there's a few ships flying around.
And maybe it was because we went in for the stream as a large group. We just got a new server and it just never put anybody else on it. But, as far as like how it was designed, it was supposed to have that PvP kind of essence to it to where, yeah, you're going to be fighting to get those packages. And they don't make it easy because it's not like you can just land there, go to a kiosk and say, put everything I can buy into my C2. You have to move each package one by one and use your tractor beams the easiest way. And even after we were loading up the A2, I think we got, I'm trying to think.
There's like 50 something packages, like 52 or something.
I think we got like 52 packages that one night. And then it was interesting, but we didn't go back just because at that time, as soon as it ended, it wouldn't let you sell the packages. And that was the first iteration of it before they put that fix in. Now you get a grace period where you can sell those packages after the event ends, which is good. That was a good addition for it. And I think tomorrow's stream, if it's still running, we're going to be trying another shot at getting into Jumptown 2 in a more active server to really get the feel for it. But everything I've heard so far has been extremely good. A lot of people have enjoyed it. And I don't know, Jskell, have you been able to get in and get on one yet?
No, I haven't. I've been too busy with other things.
Yeah. Well,
it's definitely worth the time, especially if you have a group and you're able to successfully get the packages. You know, that's going to be the hardest part.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone who wants to do PvP is going to go to, wherever the locations are, which is, to be expected. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't do Jumptown 2 without being willing and expecting to get into PvP. And that was the whole purpose of the event, was to provide an event that focused around PvP. And not everybody is into PvP. And if you're not and you don't want to be involved with it, don't do Jumptown 2. Xenothreat was intended for PvE. Of course, they try to make it PvP without any official missions, but now they're moving forward with knowing that that's a wanted thing, that in future iterations of Xenothreat, we'll see that aspect of it. We're seeing it in Ninetales now, which actually I wasn't even aware of until you told me, Danger. But now we're seeing that you can play both sides with Ninetales. With Jumptown 2, if you don't have a crime stat, you're going to get the mission, which is the lawful mission, to head over there, grab the stuff, sell it in an LEO or low Earth orbit station.
I believe there's also a criminal side for the Jumptown mission too.
There is.
Yeah.
And if you have a crime stat, you will get an offer from Rudo, offering you the job for the Jumptown 2 to get the drugs that you can get and sell it at Grim Hex. Now, Grim Hex is going to be the only place that you can sell it. And where you're going to pick these up, as we were talking about earlier, is either going to be Jumptown, Raven's Roost, or Paradise Cove. So it's not centralized to Yella. You could end up getting Jump Town, where you can make a short trip from Yellow over to Grim Hex. You could end up over at Paradise Cove, which is out on Lyria, which means you're going to be making a longer trip to go back to Grim Hex. The lawful side has the benefit that you can take it to any LEO. So if you're out at Paradise Cove, you can just take it to Bygenie Point. You're going to have the shortest trip out of any of them. Now, my understanding, and I haven't played the illegal side myself, but my understanding was it was originally set up to where the lawful side, it started out, the initial iteration that we did, it paid $7,200 per package. Now they've changed that. They've actually increased the value per package. And would you say it was 19,200 or 19,700?
200, 19,200. I'm not sure if the price is different if you're a criminal.
I've heard it is.
So I would, if it was me, I would make it more if you were a criminal, because it's going to be way more difficult. Well, it just kind of depends though on what type of players you're playing with, really, like that are on the server.
And from my understanding, from when they originally were talking about this, the lawful side has their price, which is that 19,200, and unless they change it on the one they're running today, but I haven't heard word that they have. The illegal side, from what I understand, was going to be a higher payout. And that's pretty much typical of any illegal mission. If you go into your personal tab and you run illegal missions there, they always pay higher than the lawful ones because you're taking a bigger risk. So my understanding is the illegal side of Jumptown 2 will pay out more, but you are putting more at risk. But that's what you'll get if you already have a crime stat. You'll get the offer from Rudo. Now, if you have no crime stat, you will not have the option to play the illegal side. So I've heard issues with people that don't have a crime stat when it gets launched. And of course, they go commit a crime to get a crime stat. And if they commit a crime after it's been launched and they get a crime stat, from what I'm hearing, there's some issues about getting that Rudo mission if you get your crime stat after the launch of Jumptown. So be aware of that. If you're looking for the illegal side, your best bet is to have the crime stat before it launches. There's no guarantee you'll get the illegal side if you get it after the fact. But I mean, I'm excited to try and actually get in on one that's actually going with multiple participants. So it'll be fun to see. Any issues that you're seeing with it?
Not really. The only issue I ran into was with Mando against Zero State. We were flying the Redeemer around. I had a crime stat and he didn't, and then Zero State shot me, and I think he got a crime stat because Mando didn't have a crime. You know what I mean? So
he was in your ship.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of needs to be figured out.
Yeah, and that's been an ongoing issue because obviously if you're an legal person in an illegal person's ship, that person that's attacking the bounty or whatever can still get a crime stat because the person that's in there that's innocent. And that's something that's always been there.
And we were just there. If we got shot at, we just shot back. We weren't like initiating anything really, but it was still fun just to fly around and dogfight. So
yeah, and honestly, that's one of those. They're trying to do this balance with the law enforcement system, and that's one of those things it's one of those. I wouldn't say uncommon situations because anybody that has flown with us know that we at times do have a number of people that are mixed between legal and illegal crime stats and all that, depending on what we're doing. But it's one of those things that it's really going to be difficult to account for and have a system that can account for that as well as all the other changes that they're going to be making, because you can't just take the person that doesn't have a crime stat, put them onto a ship of somebody that does and make them a criminal, give them a crime stat 1 because they're going around with somebody that has a crime stat. But at the same time, you can't use a innocent person as a shield to keep somebody from getting your bounty. So yeah, it's one of those double-edged swords there. So
yeah, I'm having fun with it.
Oh, that's always good, and definitely we'll be getting online tomorrow for the stream and trying to do so ourselves. And hopefully, if you're around Danger, you'll jump in with us. We may need to use you for some guidance since we didn't exactly get the full experience.
Yeah, you're just gonna need a plan if you want to make the money from doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely for sure. So, but that's pretty much everything going on in the verse. Definitely, Mando, thank you for the screenshots you and Danger provided. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you for letting me use them in tonight's broadcast. Hopefully, everybody out there has enjoyed. Don't forget that we are going to be taking a break over the next 2 weeks because of the holidays. Next Saturday and the following Saturday, there will not be a State of the Verse because of Christmas and New Year's, or should I say, family and hangovers. And we'll definitely still be streaming every Wednesday and Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time over here on Twitch. And then I may still end up doing something just solo on those Saturday nights, depending on what I got going on. But if anything, it'll probably just be standard gameplay. And keep an eye out for our new giveaway that's going to be starting January 1st for that Nomad package with Squadron 42, as well as the IAE setup with the paint. I believe that's got 120-month insurance. That will start January 1st, run through the end, and then we'll pick the winner on February 1st. Again, I want to congratulate Jackie Moon from Twitch for winning the Argo giveaway, which is the IAE Argo 120-month insurance Argo Raft with the 3 paint pack. And I'll be in touch with you to finish up the transfer of that over to you. And thank you again for all the support, Jackie. I greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, if you do want to support, check out, subscribing here on Twitch, or you can head over to YouTube, hit that join button and become a member for as low as 99 cents a month, as well as hit that subscribe over there. Lots of great videos and everything. Helps me out if you hit that like button with the YouTube algorithm. And I want to thank everybody for all the support. And definitely, if you want to support the channel, the org, and all that, check out the Patreon and the merch store that's out there. Lots of great items. And we will be getting into more giveaways in the new year. We'll be planning to be doing another subathon probably mid-January. Still in debate whether it's going to be a 12 or 24-hour subathon. But I will be getting giveaways for that subathon, no matter what time length it is. We're going to have some ships to give away, some game packs to give away, some stuff from the merch store that we're going to give away, as well as a number of different things. So tune in for that. Keep an eye out for dates and times to be announced. And then some other definite giveaways we'll be doing in the future, especially for here on Twitch as well as on YouTube. We are going to have Twitch specific and Twitch subscriber only giveaways, as well as YouTube subscriber only giveaways coming in the new year. So keep an eye out for those as well too. And I won't go into what the giveaways for those exclusive ones will be, but it's not always going to be something related to the game, a game pack, a ship, or something like that. I have some upgrades I'm going to be making on some certain machines, and I'm going to have some gear that I may end up giving away to one lucky winner that may be hard to get a hold of right now. So keep an eye out for that. Aside from that, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
No.
I already asked you that, didn't I? By beer night. Okay. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you for joining us. I hope you will join us on our next stream. And if we don't see you, everybody have a wonderful and safe holiday out there. And thank you again for everything.
No, thank you.